Let's all warm up for a moment here. Time for What's Hot, where we talk about the stories that have us all talking.
We are joined by Rochelle Fritsch, blogger from MilwaukeeMoms.com. Jeff Wagner is back with us. Illinois became the 15th state to legalize same-sex marriage. The law goes into effect June 1st. The Chicago mayor called the vote a critical moment in history for Illinois and gay rights movement. In Wisconsin, gay marriage and civil unions are banned. Should our state allow same-sex marriage?
How much time do we have? I mean, this is a really, it's a complex issue. Simply because I think the conversation gets so weighted down in what is marriage. It's between a man, a woman, the whole 9 yards. But I wish the conversation would be deeper than the what's marriage. Is marriage an inherent right? Or is it something that someone does? With another person, whatever their sex is, and a promise to whomever they worship. That should be the conversation, but too often I think we get off into it's a right, it doesn't matter, so-and-so's homophobic, so-and-so's not. But I wish we could change that conversation, so I don't have an answer.
Let me just rephrase the question a little bit, which is what I get to do on my radio show all the time as well. I think the reality is that I don't know if it's going to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now. I think it's going to be sooner than later, but I think gay marriage is going to be recognized in this country. In Wisconsin, you're going to need a constitutional amendment to do that, but I think it's going to happen, and here's why. I think as time goes on, I think there's more and more people who are of my generation and younger who know gay couples and who look at the gay couples and they see, you know, caring, compassionate couples who love each other just like heterosexual couples do, and wrestle with the idea of, okay, why shouldn't these couples be entitled to the same rights and privileges that other people are just because of their sexual orientation? I think that's what's going on now, and again, I think sooner rather than later it's going to be approved in Wisconsin and elsewhere.
That, though, is going to be a nasty fight here in Wisconsin because that's a political fight that will be had with elections and commercials.
Exactly.
And I think there is so much religious belief tied up in it. I think it's impossible to remove that argument because people feel so strongly about it because of that.
Yeah,
in many cases.
At the same time, I think, look, I believe in public opinion polling, and I criticize polls from time to time, but I do think you're seeing a sea shift of change on this particular issue in various individual states and across the country.
Well, especially young generations.
Yeah.
You know, I think about my son who's 2, his generation. I mean, it's going to be a whole different ballgame with them.
Yeah. All right, coming up next, we reveal the viewer's choice topic. We also get a
topic of the day.
Again, we're joined by Rochelle Fritsch and Jeff Wagner from 620 WTMJ. All right, viewers, this is what you picked. A middle school football coach in Oregon fired over his plans to take his team to Hooters. He refused to change his team's victory party location despite complaints from parents. The athletic director believed there were more appropriate places to take middle school boys. Should this coach have been fired, or will he have songs sung about him by middle school boys for decades to come?
What I love about this story is he gave the kids, 11, 12, and 13-year-old boys, he gave them the option to vote on where they wanted to go. Okay, what 12-year-old boy isn't going to say, take me to Hooters? Here's the bottom line. Look, I think a lot of the hysteria to me about Hooters is sort of overplayed. I don't think it's a strip joint or anything like that. But you know what? There's more appropriate places to take middle school teams, and especially if the parents object. This is just bizarre to me that he then refused to back off on this. You should have found a better place than Hooters.
I just want to know what he was thinking of in the first place. What hopped in his mind and said, geez, Hooters seems like it's a good option. What do you think, middle school boys? I mean, what is this? But you know what, to the other side of the coin, too, the parents could have voted with their feet. I understand complaining, and I understand saying this guy is a lunatic and I don't want my child going there, but vote with your feet. That's when you stand up as a parent and say, you know what, I don't want you there, and you're not going.
But I will say that these boys probably see more in the way of pictures like on Facebook.
Yeah,
videos.
but they're not right next to
I
them.
know. I'm just saying they're exposed to all of this.
When you get that Hooters waitress sliding next to you to open your little container of
Okay.
Blue
Okay,
cheese
thanks.
dressing.
Is that how it
Thanks.
works?
I don't know. Yeah, I have no frame of reference on this there. No, actually,
Look, the
I don't.
kids chose it. When the
Yeah.
parents objected, he should have backed
Right,
down.
exactly. And by the way, there's a Hooters in Brookfield. It's not like taking kids to a strip joint. But if you decide you want to take your 12-year-old kid there, that's fine. I don't think you're a bad parent. But don't necessarily take other people's 12-year-old kids there.
And advice, Jeff Wagner, there are better wings out there.
Absolutely, amen.
much
The
better
congregation
That
says
is
amen.
true.
wouldn't
I have
know.
had their food. It's not.
I've
It's
not
okay.
nothing.
Yeah.
Dirty
Nothing
dining
from them.
speaks right there.
Ooh.
Time for our lightning round. Marvel Comics announcing its new superhero,
I just realized my pun. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's
Miss Marvel. Let's focus on Miss Marvel.
Yeah, let's.
She's the first ever Muslim title character from the Marvel Comics and maybe the first Muslim superhero from the mainstream comic to get her own monthly book. Do you believe America is ready for Miss Marvel?
Sure. Hey, I grew up reading Marvel comic books in particular, and I can remember when it was so controversial that they had the first African-American superhero. I mean, I remember what a big deal that was. These are niches, and I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to find different characters that can relate to different parts of their target audience. Yeah, I think America is certainly ready for this, and if it's an entertaining story, then kids will read it. People will read it.
It's not a big, I don't think it's a big deal, and I agree with you, Jeff. This is something that's just reflecting what society looks like now,
Yeah.
and I think it's perfectly fine. I just am anxious for when they make it into a movie, because I really like those movies. So as long as it's done well, then knock yourself out.
Funny you should mention that. Friday night,
I know.
Thor opens up.
I am so excited.
I'm going to be there Friday evening with my 6-year-old nephew. We're making a family. We're not going to Hooters, but we're going to Thor.
Thanks for that clarification.
All right, the What's Hot discussion will continue online. We're just going to cap it there before anybody gets hurt. Find that page, tmj4.com/hot.
Coming up, Storm